Wait, hold on. The DOJ is actually making arrests of the deep state criminals connected to the coup? Are you kidding me? Yep. That's exactly what's happening here, and I am all here for it, as the details of this case are very interesting, very fascinating, especially after Dr. Anthony Fauci got a full pardon. Now, what does this mean? Well, it looks like a lot of his underlings and order followers are actually the ones that are now finally, for the first time in a long time, being held accountable. Pam Bondi left the DOJ, and now we have gotten numerous high-profile raids, arrests, indictments, and are we now finally going to see the light of some actual legitimate action? Well, I pray we do, as of course the battle is still extremely uphill, but it looks like it's starting, and we're going to be talking about that and a lot more all here on this independent media broadcast. If you appreciate it, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. Now, this story's wild. I saw the story and I was like, wait, what? Really? The U.S. DOJ indicted the former senior advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci, David Morin, 78 years old, for allegedly committing a conspiracy against the United States government, aiding and abetting and destroying evidence amongst a federal investigation into how coup started. Now, we kind of pretty much know how coup started. When you talked about the coup and how it started a couple years ago, banned, censored, demonetized, your videos sometimes randomly deleted, without even notification. That's what we experienced. That's why we created our own platform, so we could actually talk about these issues in a fully uncensored way. Now, this guy, long time advisor to Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, again, started to really do gain-of-function work after 2001. That's when the Bush administration says, yeah, in the Patriot Act and other legislation that we're going to force down everyone's throats in this national emergency, we're going to allow Dr. Fauci to weaponize viruses. All right? And that's when Dr. Fauci got to start. There's also EcoHealth Alliance, Peter Daszak, the Bat Lady, all of them interconnected with the Wuhan Institute in Wuhan, China, where COOF originated as they were working on weaponizing COOF. Now, you know what I'm saying when I say COOF, right? As he faces serious felony charges, including the conspiracy against the United States, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records. Now, why would they be doing that? Why would he be doing that? Why would he be doing that? Because their fingerprints are all over this, right? And what would happen if it would come out that COOF wasn't just engineered, wasn't just man-made and created, but potentially also deliberately released here? A lot of people are saying, oh, it could be an accident. I don't believe in accidents, especially with how everything just played into the UN 2030 agenda. I don't believe in that, right? As he is being accused of concealing, removing, or mutilation of records, aiding and abetting, as now the indictment also lists 2 unnamed co-conspirators who helped evade Freedom of Information Act request and the Federal Records Act's requirement. As from 2006 to 2022, Morins used a private Gmail account for official government business and actively sought ways to dodge records requests. What are they hiding, right? I think in this kind of national emergency during the COOF years, especially in 2020, I think we should know what was going on here. But it's the years leading up to it. It's the years afterwards, 2020, right? 2026 is where some people are saying this is where they started really to develop a lot of this stuff. And then 2020, it's when they deliberately released it. 2022 is when we were in the kind of midst of all of it. And in April 21st, 2021 email, he wrote, "There's no worry about Freedom of Information Act requests. I can either send stuff to Tony on his private Gmail or hand it to him at work or at his house. He is too smart to let colleagues send him stuff that could cause trouble." What kind of trouble are you talking about there, buddy? Earlier, he admitted learning how to make emails disappear after a Freedom of Information Act request, but before the search starts, and confirmed he deleted most of those early emails after sending them to Gmail. On September 9th, 2021, Morens declared he would always communicate on Gmail because my, quote, NIH email is Freedom of Information Act requested constantly, and he deletes anything I don't want to see, quote, in the New York Times. Morens oversaw the controversial NIH grant to Echo Health Alliance. See, there we go there. Here it is. This is the CIA-linked kind of company that funded bat coof virus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So it's an active cover-up. And listen, we could come out and talk about why this happened. I mean, it's pretty clear why it happened, right? We've been saying this for a very long time. Dr. Fauci lied on record. This is why he got such a huge pardon from Joe Biden, which to me was just an absolute top-notch criminal action here. As Todd Blanche, listen, I had my reservations about Todd Blanche, but listen, like, this guy's cooking, right? I'm not always happy. I can't forgive the Epstein stuff. I can't, but this guy's cooking. As he described the actions as a, quote, profound abuse of trust intended to suppress alternative theories on what happened with Koof. As, of course, the CIA was then going to big tech social media companies, and they're like, you got to ban people talking about the Wuhan Virology Institute. And they did. And they stopped this from getting out there to the general public as people were connecting the dots. And it looks like there was an active cover-up effort here, which is huge. Now, before getting into that and a lot more, during the Koof years, like, you couldn't say much on public platforms. That's why we created LukeUnfiltered.com. Just really quickly, we wanted to remind you, we're not reliant on any foreign money from Qatar or BB. We're relying on funding from you. $8 a month, 20 cents a day means the world to us. Sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com, and you get all the T-shirts that are on our full catalog of the best political shirts.com, like this shirt that I'm wearing right now, which it's pretty funny. I was wearing another one. I'm going to wear a very bombastic one tomorrow. I'm here at the Bitcoin conference, and people are like, it's nonstop. It's like, man, I love your shirt. Tell me about your shirt. Where do I get this shirt? Where do I buy the shirt? Well, you got to become a member of LukeUnfiltered.com. When you become a member of LukeUnfiltered.com, you get the full access. Otherwise, we released this limited edition Buck the Fed shirt that's available during the Bitcoin conference that you could buy right now on thebestpokershirts.com. Otherwise, you want all the other shirts like the one I'm wearing right now, become a member. You get access to the Discord, 3 master classes on survival, apocalypse, expatting, being a YouTuber, being a personality. We released all of it. How to do journalism. We released all of it. We have like thousands of videos centered around helping you. And during the Koof years, like, we were there with like up-to-date information that we couldn't share anywhere else. And the people who listened to us, the people who are our members, made some very important decisions and moves that have helped them out tremendously, not just for their own health, but also when it came to, of course, getting back pay and getting a lot of help that they were facing a lot of pressure against here. Now, this is big here, right? A Zero Hedge here that talked about the Wuhan Virology Institute and their potential connections to all of the horrible things that came out of there. They're the ones that got censored first on Twitter. If you remember back in the day, they got destroyed, right? Their news organization took a substantial hit because they talked about, hey, is it kind of strange that there's like a virology institute here and maybe it didn't come because a guy shoved a pangolin down his mouth hole? As Zero Hedge, right, Fauci advisor David Morin admits in an email that he learned from other Freedom of Information Act lady here how to make emails disappear after he is Freedom of Information Act requested. But he did it before the search starts. Now, this is big, man. This is huge. Daily Mail. Top Anthony Fauci advisor indicted for criminal conspiracy against the United States. Yeah. This is wild, right? So it's great. Like, I want to see what happens here. I mean, listen, the CIA, NSA, they have servers where they like database everything. Could they get these records? They probably can. They might not want to make it public, but I think it's of the utmost importance right now to get information about this. Now, again, we can't do much about Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, in my opinion, lied through his teeth. Messaging was inconsistent, it was bipolar, and then it was counterintuitive. And in my opinion, it helped spread illness and sicknesses when a simple conversation about things like vitamin D, which we have on We Are Change Our Shop, could have helped a lot of people from getting hurt and injured, right? It was a mass trauma event and a huge transfer of wealth event that propelled a lot of kind of global warming initiatives that were stalled because people weren't buying the bullcrap. And then this huge sickness came out. Exactly the same type of sickness that Dr. Fauci and all these other people connected to the CIA were working on weaponizing. Interesting, as Dr. Fauci came out and said that he is very grateful for the pardon. Again, preemptive, unconditional pardon for Dr. Fauci. Look, Donald Trump, he's going to do the same, probably to all of his staff members, right? Now, his other top advisors, I hope there's a moment where we could actually have like legitimate hearings so we could actually find out what actually really happened, just so we have it on the record. Like, Dr. Fauci's already not being implicated. This guy probably is like, okay, Dr. Fauci, I'm just going to blame it all on Dr. Fauci. There's a big possibility that that could happen here. It's going to be interesting. We're going to be following this case here because this is going to be big here. I mean, you're hiding emails about working on this virus that you are trying to convince everyone came from a guy eating a pangolin? Get out of here. Now, this is an interesting article for all the way back in 2024, talking about how David Mullins wasn't arrested for evading the Freedom of Information Act and that he was under investigation. He was under investigation by, of course, the Biden administration that just let it fall by the wayside. I was like, oh, yeah, we're not going to do anything with this. And now, finally, we have this from justice.gov, the DOJ, saying former senior NIAID official indicted. Now, I really hope and I pray that there's some way to get these records. There is. But the big type of revelation here from all of this was Pam Bondi, who, of course, was connected to a lot of these industries and lobbies and a lot of other powerful Democrats like Swalwell. Like, was she holding everything up and making sure nothing happened here? As Walter Kurt says, all right, say whatever you want about Todd Blanche. It's been less than a month since Pam Bondi was fired, and now we have indictments for COOF, raids on the learning centers, and the SPLC indicted for covertly funding the KKK. How much of this was she blocking? And we're just beginning here. This is the start. As a lot of people are saying, look, 26 days, right? We're not, like, this guy's not even working weekends. SPLC indicted. Somali daycare raided. Fauci inner circle indicted. Whoa. Yeah. The Minnesota fraudsters raided. Good. I'm not a big fan of the firing squad reinstated personally. I think we should have a little bit of more decorum when it comes to this type of stuff. But whatever. Say what you may about that type of stuff. I think it's not as important as this latest indictment. All right. We have a natural fraud enforcement division that was just created. 4 prosecutors who abused the FACE Act that targeted pro-life activists fired. And again, listen, I might have been wrong. I'm willing to admit it. Listen, if I was wrong on Todd Blanche, I apologize, right? Now still, long ways to go. Lots of very high-profile Democrats, lots of high-profile criminals still out there that have gotten away with a lot of crazy stuff. But listen, I think we need an even keel on this, right? Because a lot of people are just like, I hate Trump. I love Trump. I'm like, bro, that's not the right approach here. I think Sean Strickland has the right approach here. He says, everyone is saying Sean used to be pro-Trump. He says, no, I have always been America first. When he does things that are pro-America, I support it. When he does things I believe hurts Americans, I disagree. American trade, immigration law, less taxes, America first. I support an ideology, not a person. Absolutely. That's how it's supposed to be. Todd Blanche did some good stuff. Good. Thank you, Todd Blanche. Thank you for actually going out there, getting the job done. As, of course, we still have so much to do, especially when it comes to a lot of this other stuff. But it's becoming clearer by the day that whatever Pam Bondi was doing, it's pretty clear she was stalling, she was stopping a lot of legitimate action taken against some very hardcore criminals. If you remember, Tulsi Gabbard, right? Tulsi Gabbard literally says we have criminal referrals based on Russiagate that are on Pam Bondi's desk. That Pam Bondi desk Things just magically disappeared on. Now, Pam Bondi is probably going to be pardoned, by the way. She's out right now talking about how we need a ballroom. Right? Really? Really? Like, we need a ball. Like that's okay. I'm personally happy she's gone because she was always seen as this kind of lady of the lobbyist. Right? She wasn't good on the First Amendment. She wasn't good on the Second Amendment. And a lot of the stuff, people were saying, where's the arrest? Where's the prosecutions? Where's the accountability? You guys promised us accountability, right? We had the FBI, we had the DOJ literally go after pro-life activists, parent-teacher school conferences, right? They labeled Catholics an extremist group. As, of course, they're all celebrating, cheerleading BLM, bailing them out and raising money for them that went to luxury houses in Los Angeles. I can't wait for that one to be potentially investigated. And again, that's one of many things that I think needs to be investigated here. As, listen, I know a lot of the stuff is around Epstein stuff. We'll get into the Epstein stuff here in a little bit. But Hans Mahenke says, Todd Blanche is on an absolute tear right now. From indicting the SPLC to appointing Joe Giovanni as a Russiagate czar, to now going after the origin of COOF and the fraudsters, it's been a relentless run of action, all while dealing with an assassination attempt in the middle of it. Now, it's pretty clear that what happened with the Epstein stuff, as MTG kind of explained, it was orders from the top. Does this mean now that Todd Blanche is actually going to release the Epstein files? Probably not, because it's probably orders from the top. Let's just be real with ourselves. Orders that we do not understand, as we have MTG kind of explain the scenario that was explained to her by the President of the United States about why this major kind of cover-up effort happened. So again, will I ever be fully satisfied with no Epstein accountability? No, because I think a lot of those like hardcore big-time players are still out there. They're still hurting people. And now they're also emboldened because they're sociopaths, and they get off on knowing that they hurt people and that they're going to hurt more people. Right? So no. I'm not like, yay, I'll forgive that one. I can't. I just can't. But at the meantime, give me a little bit of appetizers here. Can we find out the origin of what really happened in 2020? Can we actually get some accountability? Can we actually get some legal restitution in a way where top-level criminals are held accountable? Yes, and we need to do that because they could run it back at any moment, at any time. We have to understand how dangerous this is, especially with the COOF, right? Because, like, when you look at how everything kind of panned out, right, a lot of people are saying, well, that was just a dry run. They're going to do it again. And if they have biological weapons that could make everyone sick and die, they could use that as leverage, and they could say, listen, you're going to not hold us accountable, you're going to forget all this, or we're going to release another one. That's why I think we need to hold them accountable so we get rid of this type of hijacking of our system here. But here's MTG kind of describing the scenario.
We started moving into the Epstein files, and everyone remembers that battle. That was the biggest battle on the planet, like the hardest thing to accomplish.
Yeah.
And he had his administration, the White House, telling the Speaker and Leader Thune, so Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune, stop this. Do not pass any resolution to release the Epstein files. He told Pam Bondi at the DOJ, no matter what you think of Pam Bondi, he flat out told her, do not release the Epstein files. He was blocking everybody.
It was all him because there's a huge narrative out there that it's all Pam.
Now, will Todd Blanche go against the President of the United States? No. He might still be the acting Attorney General for the foreseeable future. And listen, if he keeps acting like he has been within the last 26 days, I'm okay with that, especially if he's going to deliver on more here. Now, a lot of people are skeptical of him because they're like, yeah, he was a Democrat. Like, he was meeting with allegedly Merrick Garland here. And there's some, serious questions about how all this is going to play out, especially with such a loss of major trust here. But I would say this action right here is important, as he just released a statement saying, thanks to the U.S. Attorney of Maryland, Kelly Hayes, and her team for their outstanding work on the important case. A grand jury returned an indictment against Dr. David Morenz. Now, this is big here because, like, there's already people that are like, okay, we heard the evidence, he's guilty. This case is going to move forward. Hell to the yeah. A former senior official at NIAID for allegedly conspiring to conceal federal records, evade Freedom of Information Act requirements, and suppress dissenting scientific views regarding the origins of COOF. Now, again, there's big questions to ask here. Those emails that he probably covered up are like, okay, we got this thing. It's going to hurt this many people. We should release it because then we're probably going to get our global warming, like Agenda 2030 ramped through, and we could finally lock people down. Yay. I'm guessing, but I don't know if they would say that. They would probably have private conversations about that. But listen, we have an NSA that spies on everything. As he says, this can never happen again, and the prosecution sends a clear message for those who hold public positions of public trust, who must uphold the highest standards of integrity and transparency. Yes, it looks like the Biden administration stalled this. They stopped this, and now it's finally coming out. So overall, I'm very happy this is happening. If you are too, share this video. We still got an uphill battle, especially against Monsanto, right? And glyphosate. I'm going to do a separate video about that right after this one. Thank you again so much for signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. Thank you so much for getting the shirts. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on YouTube.com/WeAreChange.